Weeks of the coronavirus outbreak in the U.S., colleges and universities across the country closed their campuses. They sent students home and transitioned to online classes.
But as the economic effects of the pandemic continue to impact students and impact families, a number of schools have announced tuition freezes for the upcoming academic year. Here to discuss this, digital reporter at Campus Reform, Eduardo Neret. Eduardo, we spoke to you a few weeks ago on this and how some universities, they're actually rising the cost of their tuition, but these schools are actually benefiting students by freezing the cost. Give us some details on that.
That's right. These schools are doing the opposite. Schools like Michigan State University, the University of Chicago, the University of Minnesota, they've all come out and said, look, we understand the hardship that our students and our students' families are going through right now. So we're going to freeze tuition for the upcoming semesters. And that's a good thing. A lot of other schools should follow course and do that. And the reason why it's an important move is because of this. Look, students are facing online classes in the fall. And so it doesn't really make sense to raise tuition for a different service, a lesser service, if you will, than students are used to. You know, if students are going to be resorting to online classes, which is not the experience they traditionally pay for, they shouldn't have to pay more for that. So a lot of these schools are saying they're going to freeze tuition instead. And I think that's going to benefit a lot of these students, a lot of these campuses, communities, and I think hopefully other universities will follow.
Yeah, they might be able to retain some of those students who would at least want to continue getting their education at the same university. But at the same time, Eduardo, I mean, we talked about this before. When you're going to school online, you're not getting the same college experience that you'd normally be paying for. Do you think we would see enrollment numbers impacted in any way? Do you think universities should consider, hey, maybe we could reduce the cost of tuition if you're just going to Zoom University?
I think they should. Absolutely. At the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, we've covered how, a tuition increase could potentially deter students from enrolling in the fall. And this gives schools an opportunity to have some good press coverage, right? We saw earlier in the week schools like Harvard and Stanford, request and then go back on requesting the money from the coronavirus stimulus. We've, as you said before, talked about schools that have said they're going to increase tuition. So these schools are doing something smart by saying, hey, we're not going to do that to you. And not only for current students, but for high school seniors right now who may see their freshman year as a difficult year, they may look at these schools and say, hey, I know tuition isn't going to be hiked. Maybe in some cases it might be lower. Maybe there may be some opportunity here. It may be good for them to go there. And these schools have an opportunity to now attract more students by saying they're going to give financial opportunities, financial benefits for attending in the fall.
Eduardo, I know that you talk to other students out there. What are you asking them? What are you hearing from them in this time? What's their biggest concern? Because we're all learning about this and how this is affecting colleges together at the same time.
It really depends on the age range. So students who are in their upper class, they're concerned, if they were graduating this semester, if they're going to graduate next semester, they're concerned about what their post-grad life is going to look like. Are they going to be able to apply to grad school as they normally would? Are they going to be able to find the jobs? And then students on the lower end are concerned about how long this will continue. Do they want to be attending another 2 years of maybe potentially online learning or distance learning? They don't know how long this will last. They don't know how long the effects we'll see from it. And schools may be cutting back in areas that they aren't used to. And in some ways that could be good. So, I've been on the record before saying, schools should cut down on non-education expenses, whether it's the, $25 million athletic facility that we've seen at schools like UCF that have, lazy rivers and mini golf. So schools may be cutting back in some of those ways, but students are worried that they're going to be cut back in educational ways. And so that's what we've been talking to them about. It's just the uncertainty that they don't know about going forward that is on their mind right now.
A lot of uncertainty at this point. I know you'd mentioned before study abroad programs, internships, of course, that desperate job search post-grad. They're all questions that are up in the air right now. But it's good to hear from you. I know you'll keep an eye on it. Digital reporter at Campus Reform, Eduardo Neret. Eduardo, thanks for joining us.